with my notification that SoulShine is live. Good reminder to turn my phone on silent. We're just gonna wait for some people to join today. Hi, Teresa. Teresa, a friend of yours, posted a GIF or a GIF or whatever they're called on your Facebook today. I gotta tell you, that's almost how class was gonna go today. Happy Monday. Hello, hello. Hi, Debbie. Everybody's right on time. We're just going to give it, I don't know, we're going to say one more minute or so. When we do get started, we're going to get started down on our backs. Oh, that's your mom. I love it. My mat is really close to my wall, and it's actually closer to my wall than I would like it to be. So I'm not going to make you flip from one side to the other. I'm going to at one point in time. So if your mat's really close to a wall and you don't have a ton of space, you can always do the same thing there, and that'll be just fine, and you'll figure out what I'm talking about here shortly. Alrighty, get it in whenever you can get it in. You don't have to do it now. The beauty about these online classes is that we are sharing them, so you can do them whenever you would like. And on that note, before we get started, SoulShine Yoga, all of us teachers, Lisa, all of us that you're seeing online, we're so grateful that you are all here with us and that so many of you have continued to support us in so many different ways. And if you're looking for a way you can kind of help out the studio and help out us teachers, we have a couple different options for you. So I think you have 4 days left if you want to order a SoulShine t-shirt or bag or sweatshirt. And you can find the link to that on SoulShine's Facebook page. And if you do that, all the proceeds go back to the studio, which keeps the lights on when we come back or until we come back, and it's keeping us teachers kind of afloat for now. And within that, there's also an option if you wanted to leave a donation as well. This is my typing hand. I realize in bar I do it a lot. And then you can also go on your Mind Body account if you're interested, and there's a way you can just donate like monetarily on there if you're so inclined to do so. If not, it's okay. We still love you no matter what. We're glad you're here with us, and if you do, we still love you no matter what, and we appreciate every little piece that you give to us. So thank you. With all that being said, I linked the playlist if you wanted to start it at home. It's there for you. I have my setup a little differently today, so we're gonna see and hope that the music works out for us. Alrighty, I'm gonna press play in 3, 2, 1, and we're gonna start down on our backs. Letting yourself come all the way down, letting your body kind of surrender itself. You don't have to flop down the way I just did in my attempt to wiggle it out, but whatever it is that you need or whatever it is that you can do to just let it go and land in this space. Let yourself land. Start to feel the weight of your body on the ground. Maybe a nice cleansing breath helps bring you into this space. One of the first things you can do is start to bring your awareness to your breath. Just noticing the breath you have with you today, noticing the breath you have with you in this moment. And then whenever you're inclined to do so, go ahead and switch to a nose-to-nose breath. Letting the inhales come in through the nose, and the exhales move out of the nose. And there's so much that we can be doing in this space right here. We might still be attached to the outside world, what's happened in our day, what hasn't happened in our day that still needs to, where we would like to. Maybe we're still feeling the weight of things we've seen or read or talked about today, and we can see those kind of swirling in our minds. And that's okay if that's what's happening here for you. Because in time it'll settle. Especially the more you start to bring your awareness to that breath. Another thing we can be doing right here, just watching the breath, letting those inhales fill the belly. And then watching as those exhales let the belly drop. Maybe you start to trace the spine here. Letting that breath move from the tailbone up towards the crown of the head. And sending that breath back down to your tailbone. Personal favorite of mine to draw into any posture in a practice. Just tracing the spine. Maybe you start to become more aware of how the body lays on the ground. Is your weight even in the hips, right and left? In the shoulders, right and left? If you are breathing through the spine, is the spine aligned, or do you have a little soft bend to you? And you don't have to shift or adjust or change that. Just recognize how your body lands, how your body's holding itself in this moment. Feel your breath move in. And feel your breath move out. Soften the muscles in your face, your cheeks, your jaw, around your eyes. And take a moment to ask yourself why it is you came to your mat today. Why do you come to your mat every day? But more importantly, why did you come to your mat today? Can you let this reason, can you let this why be your guide through your practice? When your mind starts to wander, when the questions start to come up, can you come back to this base reason of why and let it continue to guide you? Feeling that breath move in, maybe tracing it through the spine, feeling that body on the ground. When you're ready, we're going to pull both knees in towards the chest and give yourself a nice little squeeze here, wrapping your arms around your legs. Maybe you take a little rock side to side. Maybe you take your chin towards your knees or your nose towards your knees. Maybe you stay out long and soft. Shoulders relaxed. Coming back through neutral. Staying with that breath, we're going to keep the right leg pulled in tight and extend the left leg out to the front of the room. Both shoulders soft down on the ground here. If you feel like your chin is reaching or there's a big kind of, you can slide your arm under your neck. We want to take a little tuck of the chin so we lengthen out through the back of the neck. The right leg is flexed, right foot is flexed as we draw that leg in. Left leg is pressing out towards the wall in front of us, so we're active through that left leg. And you might even feel a gentle hip flexor stretch in the front of the left leg here, and we're purposely compressing the front of the right. Before we talked about finding even on both sides of the body, so feeling how the body lands, how the hips lay, how the shoulders lay. In this space, I want you to bring your awareness into your hips, and notice if as you pull your right leg in, you're hiking your right hip up. See if you can send that right hip back down so that this stretch happens through the hip flexor, throughout the front of the hip. Instead of hiking that hip up to create more space, you can even think about breathing deeply into the right side of the body and creating space between the ribs and the hips here. We're going to take the left arm out into T or into cactus. Keep your right hand on your right shin, and then just open up that right knee towards the right side. Left toes still pointing up towards the sky. Try to keep both of your hips glued down to the ground. Again, trying not to hike that right hip up, but keeping it even with the left. Not worried about that knee coming all the way down to the ground. So taking the leg down to get the knee down is a beautiful stretch, and if that's what you want today, you can go for it, but not necessarily the one we're working for today. So allowing those hips to stay even, keeping that knee pulled up towards the armpit. Just 2 more breaths here. We're going to pull that right leg back through center. You have a couple options here. So you can just take your hands to the back of your thigh or the back of your calf as you straighten out that leg. Depending on your flexibility, you could take your peace fingers to come inside that big toe and attach to the foot there. But we want this nice straight leg if we can, not hyperextending the leg by overextending the knee. But if you need a soft bend in your knee, of course it's okay to bend. You can also just take the leg a little bit further away, or if you have maybe a belt or a tie or something at home that you could take around your leg if you need, you could always take that there. But getting a nice hamstring stretch here, opening up the back of the leg. Again, just letting those hands land wherever is best for you. Feel that breath. See if you can soften those shoulders down to the ground. Depending on where you're holding the leg, this next part is going to be a little bit trickier, so you might need to wrap around a little bit or come up higher to the thigh if you can't reach for the toe. You could always take a bend back in the knee, but just like we opened up before, we're going to open up with a straight leg here. So we're keeping both hips glued down, draw the belly button in, and then open that right leg out to the side. Trying to keep both shoulders on the ground. Maybe you take your gaze over your left shoulder and breathe. Actively press through that left foot. It's a posture we often do standing, so imagine that you're actually pressing that foot into the ground and see how that changes things for you here. Pressing through both heels. Just one more big breath here. Use an inhale, come back through center, nice straight leg. Breathe here. Take a breath in, and then as you exhale, we're going to take nose to knee, draw your belly button in, just lift those shoulders off the ground. And then lower back down. Put a bend in that right knee, pull it in nice and tight, and then we'll pull the left leg in to meet. You can take a little rock side to side. I mentioned in the beginning I was going to turn around halfway through. So if you don't have space on the side, just go ahead and turn around. But if you do, just stay right where you are. We're going to keep the right leg pulled in nice and tight. The left leg pulled in nice and tight, and extend that right leg out to the front of the room. Trying again to keep those hips in line, so not hiking that left hip up, but keeping it down and even with the right. Pressing through the heels, and then drawing that leg in just as close to the body as you can today. Shoulders soft on the ground. Eyes open or eyes closed. Let the gaze rest soft. Relax the forehead. Check in with your body into where you feel sensation or resistance in this posture. And allow yourself to breathe into that space. Invite that space to open up with ease. Keeping the left hand on the shin, opening that right arm up to cactus or T. Keeping both hips on the ground, we're going to open that left hip up. Again, keeping the knee pulling in and up towards the armpit, staying active through the right leg. Both hips staying down on the ground. Hopefully feeling this throughout the inner thigh on that left leg. Maybe outside of the left glute, a little sensation. Strong, beautiful breath. See how much tension you're holding there in your left hand, in your left chest, across the armpit, and see if there's anything you can soften there while maintaining this posture for just one more breath. And then using an inhale, we'll pull that leg back through center. We're going to straighten the leg out and grabbing onto the back of the calf or the hamstring, or maybe peace fingers to the big toe. Again, not hyperextending the knee, not overextending. Relatively straight, but very soft micro bend. Unless you need a larger bend, in which case that's a-okay. But getting this nice stretch throughout the back of that left leg. Think about pressing your heel towards the sky. Draw your belly button down. Feel that long lengthened spine, shoulders down away from the ears. Feel those hips down on the ground. Leave both those hips right where they are, and with an exhale, we're going to start to open up that left leg. Maybe your gaze looks over your right shoulder. Both hips glued down to the ground. Press through that right foot like you're standing on it. Keep pressing through that left heel, whether you've got the back of the calf or the hamstring or your leg, all the way extended with your hand to your toe. Press through the heel. Use an inhale, bring that leg back through center. Both hands are going to come to the leg. Take a nice deep breath in, find length in the spine, and then as you exhale, kind of curve that spine. Take your nose towards your knee. And then lower it back down, letting your chin untuck last. Pull that left knee in towards your chest. And then draw the right leg in to match. Take a gentle rock side to side here. We'll take the arms out into T or into cactus arms, and then we're just going to let those legs drop over to the left side, letting your gaze look over your right shoulder, getting a nice twist in the spine here to help open up the spine, letting the hips, the knees, and the heels or the ankles stack on top of one another. Trying with those arms not to keep the shoulders up towards the ears, but keeping them nice and down straight if you can. Feel that right side of the body, that lifted side opening up, just floating on the breath. Finding some space for that breath to move through our body. Letting that breath open up our body. The more we can open and expand from within, the more we can feel, the more we can create. The more we can experience, that's the more joy we can experience, the more love we can experience. Yes, yes, the more sadness or frustration or fear as well. But feeling is good. Feeling is living. And we get to choose where we put our focus. So choose to feel good, choose to feel light, choose to feel love, but give yourself the space to feel it all. Use an inhale, come back through center, and then just take it on over to the other side. Hips stack, knees stack, ankles stack, shoulders down away from the ears, letting your gaze look towards your left hand. This time letting that left side of the body just float on the breath. Letting that breath bring in joy, letting that exhale have all those worries leave the body. Where you are right now is exactly where you're meant to be right now, and putting faith in that right there. Putting faith in that right there will allow some peace to come into your day. Where are you fighting that you can soften? What are you fighting that you could just shift to acceptance? And what would that shift bring you? Allow that breath to move in and open you up. Let yourself have the space to feel that change. If you don't love it, you choose. Go back. Inhale, come back through center. Pull those knees in towards the chest. Give yourself a nice big squeeze. Take that little rock side to side. We'll take a happy baby, taking the arms to the insides of the knees, grabbing onto the outside edges of your feet, and then drawing your feet down towards the ground, drawing your knees down towards the ground. Shoulders are on the ground, neck stretched out long, feet are flexed. If you can't grab your feet, you can always reach for the backs of your thighs. If you don't have the space in your hips, you can always bring those feet a little bit closer together. But we're working so the ankles are right over top of the knees. And then we're pulling down, equally pressing those feet up, and maybe we rock side to side like a happy little baby as the posture's called. Feel that breath. Pull your knees back in towards your chest. We're going to rock and roll our way on up to a seat. Finding a nice comfortable seat. Maybe you actually pull the flesh out from underneath your sit bones. Draw your belly button in, roll your shoulders down the back, let the crown of the head just float, and your hands fall where they fall. Close your eyes if you're comfortable enough to close your eyes. Feel those sit bones root and ground. Feel the weight of your body drop. Just like we did in Shavasana, let your sit bones, let the whole lower half of the body really rest heavy. And then as you breathe, let those inhales lift the heart, lift the crown. And as you exhale, let it all ground down. Use an inhale, sweep your arms up overhead, fingertips reach up towards the sky, and as you exhale, we're going to side bend over to the right. Right hand comes to the outside of the right hip. Maybe you come all the way down to the right forearm. Maybe you stay on the palm. Maybe it's nice and close. Maybe you walk it out a little bit further. We're getting this nice stretch in the left side of the body, but the left hip staying glued down to the ground, so we're not lifting out, but staying heavy in those hips. Reaching out over top, pull the left shoulder back. Use an inhale, come back up through center, and then switch sides as you exhale. All those same things apply, but most importantly, feel your breath. One breath at a time, breathing in and breathing out. Use an inhale, come back up through center, reach both. As you exhale, take all your hands, both your hands, all of them, behind your hips, fingertips pointing in, squeeze your shoulder blades together. We're popping that heart forward. With an inhale, lift your heart towards the sky as you drop the head back. Maybe you even lift those hips towards the sky, finding an even bigger heart opening space here. As you breathe in, let the heart float on the breath. And lower your hips back down to the ground. Inhale the arms up towards the sky. And as you exhale, fold forward. When you can't fold any further forward, surrender your hands, surrender your chin. Just rest in, bow into this forward fold. Allowing yourself to be here one breath at a time and allowing each breath to offer you what it has to offer you. Knowing that you are not stuck. That you are completely free to move, to shift, to grow, to change. One breath at a time. Use an inhale to roll yourself back on up, letting those vertebrae stack one at a time. We're going to work into some hips here today. First, let's take those legs out long. I know I'm not on my mat like normal, but it's okay because these mats are just boundaries that are meant to be broken. Some boundaries aren't. These ones are. It's all good. We're going to put a bend in that right knee. Left leg's going to stay stretched out long, pressing through that left heel. We have a fist distance between our foot, the heel of our foot, and our knee. We're going to come into Marichyasana, letter C. So inhale, sweep your right arm up towards the sky. And as you exhale, plant that right hand behind your hip. Inhale, left arm's going to reach up towards the sky. And as you exhale, you can either hook or hug onto this right knee. So you can hug by grabbing around or hook by taking your elbow to the opposite side and then looking over that right shoulder. We want the spine up nice and tall, so we're not leaning back into this, but seated nice and tall. Left hand's right at the heart, almost in prayer, like half prayer pose. If you wanted a little bit more, there's a bind here. You could take that arm around. Maybe, maybe not. Yeah. Breathe. Use an inhale, come back up through center. We're just going to take that right foot, that right knee, lay it out flat on the ground, sole of the right foot pressing into the left leg. Inhale, sweeps the arms up overhead. And as you exhale, fold out forward over that long leg, trying to keep your chest square over the long leg. Right knee is reaching down to the ground, and then also think about pulling it back towards that wall behind you. You might feel this in the leg. You might feel this a bit more in the back. Beautiful stretch in the side body on the back side of the body here. Use an inhale, come back up through center. We're going to put a bend in our left leg, and then we're going to slide that right leg underneath. And you might have to do a little bit of maneuvering, a little bit of shifting, and that's okay. So you can stay right here. If this is too much for you, just straighten that right leg out, in which case we just have that left leg crossed over top, right? Coming into this nice little half, like Lord of the Fish pose or half Lord of the Fish pose. We're going to take our right arm up towards the sky. Excuse me. We're going to take our left arm up towards the sky. Exhale, plant it behind you. Inhale, right arm up to the sky. And then as you exhale, turn to the left, hugging on to your left leg, or hooking that elbow to the other side of your left leg. So just twisting in the opposite direction here. Long, tall, lengthened spine, giving yourself permission to just feel each breath. Soften those left toes. Feel all four corners of the left foot on the ground. Taking that gaze to look over the shoulder. Using an inhale to come back through center. We're going to come into our Gomukhasana pose, or our cow face pose. So a little different than where we were. Instead of planting that foot, we're going to cross the knees nice and tight. So you might find that this hip's lifted off the ground. It's not ideal, but it is okay. If you have a blanket, maybe folded up, you could slide that right underneath so that your sit bone is rooted to something, even if not the earth. Yeah? You can keep your toes in nice and close to your body here, or if you need a little bit more feeling, a little bit more sensation, you need to get in a little bit deeper, you can walk those toes out a little bit further so that the legs are almost in a straight line. Go to a space where you maybe feel the sensation, but still can breathe. Yeah, breathing's important here. We're gonna stay right here, and hopefully you're feeling this somewhere in the outsides of your hips. You can stay right there and do nothing else but breathe. If you want a little bit more here, we're gonna take our right arm up overhead and then pat yourself on the back. Take your left arm out into T and then take it around the back. Maybe your fingertips can reach, maybe they can't. Either way is a-okay. Breathe here. Find a little bit of softness in the back of the neck so you can feel that breath come all the way from the base of your spine up towards the crown of your head. And then if you wanted a little bit more here, and you can, of course, take the bind out, release the arms. If you want a little bit more, we're going to fold forward. Soften your jaw, relax your forehead. Just remember you are not stuck. Let your breath work here for you. Use an inhale, come back on up if you folded forward. Softly, slowly release those arms and then let them come back down to your sides. We're gonna come into our logs of fire pose here, so lots of hip work happening today. Logs of fire, we have an ankle over a knee and a knee over an ankle. And these two might connect and they might not. And if you have a block or a bolster or a blanket or a pillow, you could always slide that underneath here if you'd like. You can always just rest your hands here. You could put your hands in your lap. You could let your hands come down by your sides and kind of ground yourself through your fingertips. Breathe. Sit bones are heavy, rooted, grounded. Even if that means that knee lifts up a little bit higher, stay grounded through the base and then breathe through the spine. You can use your own muscles, your own energy, your own effort to kind of draw that knee down if it's not quite connected. If you're feeling relatively comfortable here, the next space to move into would be to start to lean forward, fold forward at the hips, at the waist. And you might find that the knees come a little bit closer together there. You might take your arms out in front. They might rest on your knee or on your legs. What's important here is that we're keeping the feet flexed and trying to keep the knees and the ankles stacked. Now this can become very sensational very quickly, so we're not going to stay here too long. Not a yin class. So take advantage of each breath that you have here and breathe in fully. And breathe out fully. Use an inhale to lift yourself back on up. We're going to unfold those legs, coming out into a straddle pose. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. And as you exhale, we're going to fold out forward. You could take your hands forward or take your hands wide. And you might not fold quite as far, and that's okay. Fold to where you fold. Feel that nice stretch in your hips. Again, hands can come out in front or they can come out to the big toes. Trying to let your belly be the first thing to come down to the ground. So we would rest our belly and then our chest and then our chin or our forehead on the ground here. So we're not rounding through the spine to take the forehead down, but we're hinging forward and leading with the collarbones. Use an inhale to lift yourself back on up. Both legs are going to come out straight in front of you here. Right leg's going to stay straight. We're going to put a bend in that left knee, fist distance in between. Inhale, left arm up to the sky. Exhale, plant it behind you. Inhale, right arm high, and then exhale, twist into that left leg. You can hug onto the knee, or you can hook your elbow to the opposite side. Bring that right hand to prayer. Draw your belly button in, sitting up nice and tall. Try not to lean back into that left arm, but just letting it be there for support or balance as you look over that left shoulder. Use an inhale, come back through center. We're going to put that left leg down on its side, left foot pressing in to the right leg is flexed. Inhale, sweeps the arms up overhead, square yourself over that long leg, and exhale, fold forward. Left knee is reaching down to the ground and then also drawing itself back towards the wall behind you. Again, if you can't reach your foot, it's okay. We just take the hand to the sides and we keep leading those collarbones out forward. Getting that nice stretch in the back of the body, maybe a little bit in those hips there, or even the back of that right leg. Use an inhale to lift yourself back on up. We're going to draw the right leg in. Left leg's going to come underneath for our half Lord of the Fish pose. Or, excuse me, half Lord of the Fish if you wanted to straighten that leg out, or Lord of the Fish here. Right foot is planted on the ground. We're going to take the right arm up to the sky and exhale, plant it behind us. Inhale, left arm up to the sky. And then as you exhale, twist into that left leg, looking over your right shoulder. Excuse me, right leg, right shoulder. Allowing yourself to just be present in the posture. Feel the breath in the posture. I once had one of my teachers, actually my teacher when I was in yoga teacher training, was explaining to us as yoga teachers, as much as we want to talk, as much as we want to say, as much as we want to express and we want to convey, the most important thing that speaks in the practice is the student's body. So it's your body. What is your body saying right now? What is your mind, your heart saying right now? How is that conversation going? More importantly than anything I could tell you is what's happening within you right now. So feel your hips, soften your forehead, check in and see what's happening with that breath. And with the mind talk, the heart talk, and the body talk. Coming back through center, we're going to come into that Gomukhasana pose. So we're shoestring pose. Knees are going to come to stack relatively on top of one another. It's okay if it's not perfect. You're a little unwound. You can keep the feet as close to the hips as you need, or you can start to walk those feet out a little bit further. And you can stay right here, letting both sit bones find the ground. Maybe your practice today is just letting that right sit bone get a little bit heavier, letting that right side of the body rest a little bit and stretch a little bit so that that hip can drop down. Maybe you're going to add the arms in today, in which case take the left arm up overhead and then pat yourself on the back. Take your right arm out into T and then come from beneath. And just because you can do something on one side or can't do something on one side doesn't mean it's the same on the other. So respect the side that you're on. Breathe into that beautiful body. Allow the heart to shine open, the spine to stack, the crown of the head to lift, and the hips to sit heavy. If you want that forward fold, with your next exhale, start to fold forward. Trying to keep those sit bones glued on the ground. Not needing any more than what you have today. Not needing to be any further in it than your body's allowing today. But loving where you are with each breath. If you folded forward, use an inhale to come back on up. Gently release those arms. And then we're going to move into our logs of fire pose, stacking one leg on top of the other. So we have our right ankle over top of our left knee, right knee over top of our left ankle. Both feet are flexed. Sit bones are down on the ground. Again, maybe the knee and the ankle connect with ease. Maybe it's a little bit more challenging. Maybe you stay right here. Maybe you start to move into that fold, hinging at the hips, reaching those collarbones out forward, checking in to make sure those knees and ankles stay stacked, feet are flexed. Again, a very sensational posture. It can become very sensational very quickly. Try not to run away from the sensation right away, but take a peek at it, take a look at it, have a conversation with it, breathe with it. Allow yourself to grow in the space that you're in. The springtime speak to bloom where you are planted today. To become one breath at a time. Release some extra tension in those hips and the glutes, maybe even in the belly and the shoulders. Use an inhale to roll yourself back on up, and we'll unwind those hips. Inhale, sweeps the arms up overhead. This time with an exhale, just twist your left leg. Stay here. Inhale, get long, and as you exhale, keep that right hip down. We're going to fold over that left leg. You might not go as far as you usually might because we're really focused on keeping those sit bones glued to the ground. Getting a little opening through the inner thigh on the opposite side, the right side. Maybe a nice stretch in the side body or the back body. Use an inhale to come back on up. As you exhale, twist to the right. Inhale to lengthen, and then exhale, fold in. Again, focused on keeping that left sit bone glued to the ground. Left toes pointed towards the sky. Letting the hands fall to the side if they don't reach the foot. Use an inhale to roll yourself back on up. We're going to come into a tabletop position, hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. And we're going to take a couple of cat-cows. Inhales, lift the hips, drop the belly, open the heart. And exhales, round everything in like a scaredy Halloween cat. 2 more. Inhale to lift. Exhale to round. Inhale to lift. Exhale to round. Inhale, come back through your neutral tabletop. Curl your toes under. And exhale, press back to down dog. Maybe rock side to side. Maybe take the hips side to side. Or bend one knee and then the other. Pressing firmly through those palms. Gaze is looking for your belly button or your hips or your knees. Breathe into the whole body here. Feel those grounded limbs.
hands and feet, and then feel the body stretch between as you breathe in that big, strong breath. Use an inhale, come up to your toes, look between your hands. As you exhale, we're going to lower our knees, hover them an inch above the ground. Inhale, lift back up, down dog. This time, inhale, shift forward to the top of a plank. Hold here, draw that belly button in. Shoulders pressing away from each other as you press into those palms, reaching the crown of the head and the collarbones forward. With an exhale, we're going to lower all the way down onto our bellies. You can take your chin to either side. Take a nice big breath here. We have a couple of options here for you because we are running a little low on time. You can take your arms out in front of you and find some space in your feet. Between your feet is option number one. Or option number two is to zip the legs up together and take your arms by your sides. We're going to move into a back bend or a heart opener here. So you can come into your Superman, Superwoman, Superperson pose, or you can move into your locust pose. Whichever you choose, we're going to press the space between our belly button and our pubic bone right into the ground. And then as we inhale, we're going to lift everything that will lift up off of here. And as much as we're back bending, we're expanding space. We're reaching the collarbones, reaching the fingers, reaching the toes, and not just dumping into the low back. Breathe. With an exhale, lower it down. I'm going to switch. You can too, or you can take the same one. Take an inhale, and an exhale, and then inhale to lift what will lift. If you're taking this locust pose, we're reaching those palms towards each other. Maybe they come to interlace and you reach those knuckles towards the wall behind you. Breathing, breathing, breathing. Exhale, lower down. Take your hands underneath your shoulders. We're going to use an inhale to lift ourselves back up to that tabletop position. We're going to walk the knees over to one side, come down onto the opposite hip, and circle those legs around. Pull your knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a nice big squeeze. Inhale to press the heart forward, lift the chin, and exhale to draw back. Seated cat-cows here. Inhale to lift. Exhale to round. Inhale to lift. Exhale to round. And this time we're going to come all the way down onto the back. Unwinding from that back bend heart opener. We can take the arms out into T or cactus. You can keep the knees stacked, or if you want, you can wrap your legs up like eagle legs. And then we're going to let the legs drop over to one side. Letting that spine twist. Releasing those back bend feels. Letting that heart side, that heart lifted side open. We'll use an inhale to come back through center, and then take it to the other side. Letting those shoulders soften down on the ground. So hips and shoulders are in opposite directions. And use an inhale to come back through center, unwind, pull your knees in towards your chest, give yourself a nice squeeze, maybe tuck into a tight little ball, take a nice deep breath in, and as you exhale, release into your Shavasana pose. Coming into your Shavasana, just like where we started class, letting the weight of the body drop down and get heavy. Letting the heels, the hips, the shoulders, and the back of the head rest. Allowing your body to open and expand. For the skin to almost become permeable in this space.
So what's within you can move right out of you. What's outside of you can move right within you. And everything that's meant to be will land in the perfect space when we come out of this pose. Releasing control of the breath. Let your eyes fall heavy to the back of your head. Let your tongue come off the roof of your mouth. And for a short time, let yourself just be right here in this yoga rest. Stay right where you are. If you want to stay there longer, whenever you're ready, we'll start to bring the awareness back to the breath. Gently wiggle the fingers and the toes, the ankles, the wrists, the elbows, the knees. Take the head side to side. Bringing some movement into the body. When you're ready, we'll zip those legs up tight. Stretch those fingers in the opposite direction. Inhale in nice and deep. Fill up the whole body with breath. And then let it go. Pull your knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a nice big squeeze. Take a moment to tell yourself you love yourself. And then slowly roll your way up to a nice comfortable seat. Sitting up nice and tall. Letting your hands fall where they fall. Take a moment to close your eyes. Feel your breath. When you're ready, bring the hands to heart center, thumbs pressed against your sternum, and bow in your chin, recognizing that beautiful light that shines from the center of your body. And send that beautiful light all the way down to the tips of your toes, right out to the tips of your fingers, and all the way up to the crown of your head as you lift your chin and lift your chest, and let the light that is you shine out so brightly into this world. The light and the love within my heart humbly bows. The same light and love in every single one of yours. Namaste. Happy Monday to you. I know my music did not work out well this time, so we'll go back to the old way. Next time, thank you for practicing with me tonight. You know, I'm hoping like 3 more weeks and we'll be back in the studio. I'm just going to keep praying on it. But until then, you can catch us here all the time. We love you and we're thankful for you. Awesome, Lydia. Awesome, Debbie. Have a great night, guys.